Welcome back to the Two Comma Club podcast. Today, Chris and I are joined by Christian Jamal. Really excited about this episode. Christian is in a variety of different businesses, but we know him a little bit about the agency space he's in. But I'd love to hear it from you, Christian. Kind of tell us what you dabble in and all the different areas of expertise you have. That'd be great.
Of course. John, Chris, first of all, thank you for having me on. Obviously, always love jumping on things like this and sharing some good value with other people. People primarily know me for the agency space. That's what I started my career in. At least that was my first successful business. Everything before that was pretty much a mess, just like everybody else in the space. So now I use my agency as both obviously like a cash cow. It is a very good cash cow business, but also as a research tool. So a lot of times I look into my clients' businesses. I'm like, okay, cool. This space is killing it right now. How can I dive into that space? And can I partner with my client, or can I open my own business and compete with my client, or whatever it may be? At the end of the day, we're in this game to win. We're in the business space because we like to compete. So I think it's all part of the game.
I love it. I love it. And I think part of it, I said, it is competition. I think it's how we keep score is money, but it is fun, it is enjoyable, and I love that. So, um, here's one of my favorite questions: talking to people. I love finding out people, biographies, history of people. Kind of what got you started? Like, where'd you get this bug that you wanted to be in the entrepreneur space, or how'd you get in the marketing world? If you don't mind sharing a little bit of background, I'd love to hear about it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I actually grew up in the Middle East. I grew up in Lebanon. I
Okay.
left Lebanon at the age of like 14, and then I lived in Qatar for about 2.5, 3 years.
Oh
So I
wow.
moved to the US when I was 17 years old. And just for context, I'm 25 now. So I've been here about 8 years, 7 to 8 years. So I really didn't want to be an entrepreneur. It wasn't something that I wanted to do. In fact, like even to this day, I still have aspirations to be like a doctor one day or whatever it may be. Because as a Middle Eastern family, you always get pushed to do lawyer, doctor, engineer. I actually really did want to be a doctor. It's not like I dropped out and became a baller. It's not like that. You know what I mean? So, um, for me, I always aspire to, because my wife right now, she's about to graduate in about 6 months. She'll be like a full-fledged doctor. And when I go home and we're having conversations and I say, babe, we made like $50,000 today. And she's like, yeah, I delivered 3 babies today. I'm like, holy shit. Like that's a whole different level of like success,
Yeah.
I would say, so it's like really cool to see like both ends of the spectrum, because like you said, like money is how we keep score, but really like life is a lot more than just business and money and
Yeah.
marketing and paid ads and all that bullshit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. I love that though. That's great. There's a lot to be said about like the work that doctors and nurses do and how much value that is. I mean, literally, they're there for the most real part of life, which is coming into this world, which is wild. And then at the same time, for those moments where people leave this life, and it's quite the respectable stuff there. So that's awesome.
It's insane.
So talking about you and your journey, you said you got into the agency space, and like what kind of led you to get into that role, if you will.
So I'll walk you guys through a little bit of the story. So part of it is very similar to a lot of people that you hear about online, where it's like some people get into it because they really have these big aspirations, and then some other people get into it because they're so afraid of the other opposite side of the spectrum. I was the second option. When I was a student at USF here in Tampa, um, during my freshman sophomore year, I was just doing what normal college kids do, right? Going out, partying, having fun, doing my thing. And honestly, I don't regret it at all. I think it was like some of my best years. I had a lot of fun. And when I started to realize that, oh shit, like I'm really starting to not have money in my account, which I understand is like fairly normal for a lot of people, because in college, you eat ramen and you penny pinch everything like that. For me, it was not just that, but I didn't understand the credit system in this country because I had just arrived. So I was applying to like Discover, and they would give me like 3K, and I'm like, "Oh my god, we're going out." You know what I mean? So I thought this was money that was mine, and I didn't calculate that this is something I have to pay back. And even though I was like, "Oh, I know I have to pay this money," I didn't really think that through. So I had really bad financial habits, and I ended up maxing out a lot of my cards on both having fun as well as trying business ventures. So The business venture that put me the most into debt is actually drop shipping, which I understand now it was completely my fault for why it didn't
Yeah.
work. Like that business model is obviously viable. Yeah, so that model put me in a lot of debt. I was running paid ads. I didn't know how to calculate my numbers. So that's how I learned the skill of running meta advertising, is just through watching YouTube videos and trying to build my own stores. And then from there, I realized like, oh shit, like I thought I was making money, but realistically, like my credit card bill just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And eventually, I was at a gas station 2 minutes from my wife's house. She was my girlfriend at the time, and my credit card wouldn't even get accepted at the gas pump. So that, to me, that was the breaking point,
Mm.
where I was like, I barely have enough gas to get to her apartment complex, and technically I'm not even allowed to park there. So if my car gets stowed, like fuck it, it is what it is. Like this is the point where I got to, where as soon as I got to her house, I went up to her apartment and I was like, babe, I love you, but like we cannot hang out today. I sat down on her couch and I was like, I have no money, I have nothing. I am providing no value to anybody. The one thing I can do is run paid ads. And I've seen these guys online talking about high income skills. I was like, I'm not that high income and I'm not that skillful, but I think I'm better than at least one other person out there. So I didn't know anything about like any niches or anything like that. I literally just pulled up Google and I was like, businesses near me. So I was calling car washes, dentists, plumbers, furniture stores, whatever it may be. And then one person actually like had reached back out to me, and it was the first time I got a call back ever. And I remember this like it was yesterday, um, because I pick up the phone and the guy says to me, "Hey, like, what are you trying to sell?" And I was like, first of all, like, chill out, dude. Like, you know what I mean? Like that guy was like straight to the point. And then I told him I help businesses run Facebook ads. And then he says to me, and I quote, this is word for word what the guy said. He said, I spend $100,000 a month on Facebook. What do you know that I don't? And I was like, damn, brother, like that's a good question because I had never seen $100,000. So like, what do I know that he doesn't? So I really just challenged him and I said, are you running lookalike audiences, which we all know is the dumbest little thing. It's not really something that makes a strategy completely different. Um, he liked that I challenged him, and I ended up going to his business. Um, I had printed my Canva presentation at the USF library, which I was stressing about because I was like, this is not school material. Like, I'm going to get kicked out of campus, you know? And then yeah, pretty much that's how I did it. I did my first sales meeting, and the guy leaves, comes back with his checkbook, writes me a physical check, not like a Stripe invoice or anything. Like I was not prepared at all, for $1,000, and he says, "You come back here every 2 weeks, and I'll give you one of these every 2 weeks for the next 3 months. Show me what you can do." And I'm leaving the furniture store like I am the happiest human being on the planet because it was the first time I had made money without actually spending money and without losing money before making money. So I was like, holy shit, like I need to scale this. This is like the best business model in the history of mankind. Uh, a lot of people doubted me, of course. Like my dad was telling me the check was gonna bounce because obviously I left the furniture store. I'm FaceTiming my dad, I'm FaceTiming my mom, I'm FaceTiming my girl. I didn't even know you had to sign the check on the back, so I couldn't even cash it till I got home. So it really was like a grind from the start because like I was genuinely like I don't think I could have been worse at anything. So it was definitely a massive learning experience, obviously, to get to the level where we're at now.
I love it. Love it. Yeah, one of the things I realized too is what I saw you've done, others have done, is just putting both feet in. You know, you just going for it. You know, things don't always work out. I've been in the same boat. Hey, just go for it. Let's make an offer and see what happens. And it's amazing when you make offers. Sometimes it sticks. That's awesome, man. I love
100%.
hearing your journey. So I love hearing that.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
what are you doing now with things like with people? I know obviously I see what you're doing, adding value, helping folks. What's kind of your guys' focus right now? What are you guys primarily trying to drive home and help people do specifically right now?
If you're interested in learning more about the tidbits and advice that they have, then you should consider subscribing to the Two Comma Club newsletter, where you'll get daily updates and advice on the podcast and the things that we are learning from the individuals who have made at least $1 million. Just go to 2ccnewsletter.com or click the link in the description down below and subscribe.
So at this point, it's not very difficult to get business. In our space, it's more so like case studies speak volumes. So the case studies that we have, the clientele that we serve, they're top dogs in their spaces. So realistically, we get people that come to us and they say, "Hey, I want what you did for X person." So it's less about us doing outreach. Now, we obviously do have our outreach methods like paid ads, like we have the sales teams outreach and things like that. But the sales dynamic is completely different once you have so much proof that it's very hard to. You're no longer selling yourself. Now you're saying, hey, listen, we have this, like, we're going to do it with or without you. Would you like to be a client and join the group, or would you not like to be a client? And that's the beauty of the system. I think that obviously we were scaling and working hard and things like that. And there is one case study that put us on the map about 2 years ago. We took an insurance company from 3 agents doing 10K a month to 4 million a month with 700 agents in 18 months.
Wow.
Uh, yeah, so that's the case study that put us on the map in the insurance space. And after that, it was a snowball. It took us about 3 years to get to 100K a month. It took us 6 months to get to 600K a month right after. You know what I'm saying? So it was a crazy snowball. Eventually, we partnered up with that client. We got equity into his business. We then sold out that equity. So it's like it's been a whole process. And now he's in the process of selling his entire company to a venture capital firm for an undisclosed amount. God knows what that might look like. So
Yeah, for sure. Man, that's wild. That's a really cool case study there. I like that.
yeah.
So tell me a little bit about how it is that you guys are currently acquiring new clients in the context of how people are finding out that you guys exist and how you're getting discovered.
For sure. So we realized, like, for us, like, the biggest ammunition is the case studies. So we made it our mission to write the most intricate, long, detailed case studies, and even going after clients that we know will be what we call like gold case studies. You know what I mean? Like, if you say like your client is Grant Cardone or your client is Alex Hermosi, it's like, oh, like you're the fucking guy then. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like that, but within each niche there is the Grant Cardones of that space. And in certain niches, the niche, even though might be huge, like insurance is huge, but the top dogs, they all know each other. And what they all like to do is compete with each other. So if they find out that one person is doing well, their next strategy is, hey, can we find out who's making them do well so I can work with that person too? So that's what we did. So we started going after people that we know are going to be cool to have as clients, but even cooler to have as case studies. And now what we do is we were having such a hard time in the beginning closing clients from paid ads. For Q4 of last year, 52% of our clients came from paid ads, or new clients came from paid ads. And our goal for this quarter is to increase that to 60%. Um, it was also our goal to do it at 60% last quarter. So we missed our goal by a little bit, but at least we were able to close half our business from paid ads, which is amazing because then it's very easy to calculate your cost to acquire a new customer, things like that. And our ads are very simple. Hey, niche, we work with XYZ, XYZ, XYZ. The best way to grow your business in X niche is to do what we are doing for these guys. Book a call below. We're doing a 2 call sequence. Call one is with a what we call like a we call it a call one and a call two. It's basically with a setter who asks all the qualifying questions. If they're qualified, setter puts it on closer's calendar. Closer then jumps in and closes the deal. It cannot be on the same day. We create that simulation. We're super busy, whatever. Now, obviously, we are super busy, but it's even more important to create that simulation. So it's all perception of reality.
I love it. I love it. So looking at Discover, how so obviously you guys are. I like that case study. I really think that's quite interesting. That having that golden client and that just promotes you and who you guys are. I love that. How are you nurturing those clients? Obviously, you guys kind of just getting discovered by, hey, you're working with XIZ. Come work. This is who we are. How are you nurturing that relationship as you're going along and kind of getting that sold?
So I realized that people really do buy from people they like. Like if you're the best of the best at paid ads, but like someone is looking at your Instagram and they're like, "Oh, you're like a dick. Like I don't want to work with you." Like it's not gonna work. So I think that it's more so about being human. I think in our space, like a lot of people have become very robotic.
Yeah.
So what we do is truly we do build good relationships with these people. So most people will say like, oh, nurture your clients by putting them in email sequence or SMS sequence. Like, yeah, sure, like of course you do that, but that's like the bare minimum. For me, it's like if someone is potentially going to be a golden case study, I'm
Mhm.
taking them out to dinners at the most expensive steakhouses, whatever it may be. And then I'm working my circle as well. So, for example, I found that one of my hobbies is like automotive stuff, like cars and things like that. So I found like my little circle within that like micro niche, and I'm like, okay, cool. Like, can I be the person that serves others for that niche in that sub niche?
Yeah.
And I truly believe in like face to face stuff. Like tomorrow, I'm flying to Dallas to go to a one night gala for one of my top tier clients that is a golden case study, and I'm flying right back here. And I had just come back from Guatemala because we have an office there last week, and then the week before that, I was in Nashville building more connections with other people. Like, dude, I'm a homebody. I don't like to fucking travel. You know what I mean? Like, I'm doing this for the business.
Yeah.
So most people are not willing to put $700 on a one night stay at a hotel where their client is staying, as well as $700 on a ticket, as well as 1,000 whatever dollars on a suit for their event. You know what I mean? But for me, that's like nothing. It's like what, all in 3K, and this client's paying what, 25 a month? Fuck it. You know what I mean? Like, I'll invest that one night away from my wife in order for me to build a better relationship with this person. And for me, I believe that you can't make moves if they're not going to pay you back. A lot of people at the beginning, they just make moves even though there is no payout, just because they don't have a proper plan. Like for me, I have a strategy. I'm like, yeah, sure, I'm going to see my client, but I'm going to talk to everybody at that gala. And number one, I'm going to try to get another client. And number two, if I don't get another client, I'm at least going to get a sick ass testimonial from the person that I'm going to see. So we're not doing anything for free. It might not be monetary what I get back, but nothing is done for free.
I love
That's
that.
interesting. I like that concept. Can you dive a little bit more into, what it is that you're ultimately, I guess, trying to do in order to build those relationships? Like a lot of it sounds like, networking, asking them about their business and how it is that you can help or add value. But like, what are some of those like little hidden tricks and stuff that you use to really just showcase that value by simply being in the room?
I think being interested in what they're interested in. So I think a lot of it goes down to, for example, when you first meet someone that you like and you want to start going on dates with this person, right? Maybe they're interested in golf and you don't like golf, right? Like maybe finding what part of golf does interest you and start to dive deeper into that. Now, in the insurance space, it's not very difficult because they all like the same shit. They all like the watches and the cars. Um, but in general, I would say like find out what's like unique about them. Like for me, one of the most important things is like family, right? I don't have kids yet. Obviously, I plan on doing that. But for example, for me, if I find out my client has kids, like that's all we're talking about. Like if my client likes cars, that's all we're talking about.
Yeah.
If my client likes investing, I send them deals from other parts of my business, right? If I have an e-commerce client that is in a completely different niche other than insurance, and they're planning on selling their business, and I have an insurance client that is an investor at the same time, I cross pollinate my clients all the time. In fact, like we wanted to bring in a new client that is not even in the United States. They're in Europe right now. They're in Croatia. So, for example, I had them fly into Tampa. I had them stay at one of my houses, which I use as a short term rental. So I blocked it off those days. I was like, you guys can stay. I invited a bunch of my wealthiest local clients, and then I basically threw a dinner, and everybody there was my client, and then the one person that wasn't my client was my potential client. So like, do you think they signed up with us or not? You know what I mean? So
Definitely.
uh, it's not that difficult to do these things. You just got to show that you care. That's really all that matters. And most people are so self-centered that they don't realize that everybody else notices that they are being self-centered.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. I think all the things going on today, we just had a conversation about AI and social media. I think all those things are great, but I always say they're an addition to face to face. I mean,
Yeah.
as you're doing, you can't beat face to face contact and getting to know somebody and that connectivity. and just how we communicate, non-verbally. So I think that's huge. I love hearing people talk about that. But then in addition, doing those dinners and
Of
doing those
course.
special touches, and that's how you really retain people for life, not just one deal. So I love kind of how you're doing that strategy and how you're doing that. I guess what would you say is kind of there's a couple of things I've heard you talk about so far that are working well for you. What would you say
Mhm.
is kind of your one unique ability, you and your partner? What are you guys really good at and you love doing in the business? Obviously, you talked about doing some other things, being a doctor maybe down the road. But what
Mm.
in particular do you love doing in the business that you want to keep doing?
I would say like always innovating. I really whenever I'm a very like big tech nerd. You know what I mean? Like right now I know, like you mentioned AI, but I'm in the process of building an AI that runs your paid ads on autopilot, right? Kind of stupid of me because I'll put my business out of business. But regardless, I think that if you're not part of the evolution, you're going to be left behind. So I know that technically, if you do some research into AI, it is doubling in knowledge every 11 months. So
Mhm.
that's ridiculous, right? Like imagine like beginning of human civilization to now, how much time is it going to take us to double in technological
Yeah,
advancement? It's going to be a lot more than 11 months, that's for sure.
yeah,
So AI is literally doubling in 11 months
yeah,
at the current pace. Now, because it's so large and there's so much information, it is probably going to start taking a little bit longer than 11 months. But the cycle was like shorter timeline in things advancing, and now it's going to start like being a little bit longer just because the timeline has become an insane amount.
yeah, yeah.
Um, so I think overall, like there's a lot of things that have to do with that I like to implement. So because I'm like a tech nerd when it comes to this, I do the research on behalf of our clients. So I think like the biggest superpower is that clients come to us because they don't want to think. They want someone to think on their behalf because they can fucking hire anyone to run their paid ads. It's not about that. It's about if they hire someone out of India, now you're telling them what they need to do. If you're hiring someone that just started their marketing company, you're telling them what they need to do. With us, people work with us because they're hiring someone that is smarter and more capable than them in this unique area, right? Like imagine with you guys, like
Yeah.
imagine you had an employee that was better than you at interviewing podcast guests. You're gonna fucking want to make sure that dude stays on the team, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So exactly. So it's kind of like that concept. That's why we have like lower churn rate. We're able to charge higher prices. Is because we truly have experts on the team. It's not like a business that we're just trying to put money in our pocket.
Sure.
I love that. So
Hmm.
talking about growing that team and adding value in that respect, like how do you find those valuable individuals and get them ultimately to be a part of what you have going on?
So we do a lot of interviews. I think a big part of it is always actively hiring. I think that at the beginning we realized that our team members were getting complacent and comfortable because they're like, "Oh, I'm like the best media buyer here, so like I'm not going anywhere." So when you put like for example always an active job listing for a media buyer on your website or LinkedIn or Indeed or whatever it may be, even if it's a couple dollars a month or however much it is, you will keep your team on their toes because they're like, damn, why are they interviewing for my position? You know what I mean? Like, am I not good? And then they keep working hard even though they are good. And the thing is also I realized that, as I mentioned, I was in Guatemala last week. Overseas talent is very slept on. I was very against that at the beginning. I was like, hey, everybody got to be in house, everybody got to be in the US. And then I realized that one of my students told me he had this many employees in Guatemala. And I was like, they suck though, don't they? And he was like, no, they're actually savage. So I looked into it and I was like, damn, they are savage. And the price difference, I can hire 3 people for every one person in the US, and the work culture in foreign countries is a lot
Yeah.
more intense than here. Like because here like people are like I work to live, you know, I don't live to work. Over there they live to work. Like that's literally like their purpose in life. That's how they get fulfillment.
Yeah.
So to me, I'm like, I can pay you significantly more than what you can make in your country,
Yeah.
and I can get a lot more out of you than what I can get in my country. So everybody wins. Like our team members in Guatemala are getting paid twice what their other peers are getting paid in the same exact job. They're just working for a Guatemalan company instead of a US company. And I'm paying half of what I pay for a local media buyer. So overall, I think it's a win win situation. And I go there once a quarter just to check in on the team because we have like a legit office there. It's not like a bunch of VAs. and the work culture is amazing. They're all like family there. I'm like, damn, like you guys are tight. You know what I mean? So, like, I'm down to move and live in Guatemala at this point.
I love that. We were just funny you mentioned Lebanon. We just talked to somebody this week, and they're getting overseas talent from Lebanon. They're like, "Hey,
Hell
it's
yeah.
great. They're motivated. They have bachelor's, master's degree. You know, the cost, like you just said, is a
Who'd you
fraction."
guys talk to?
Oh man, I got to tell you who. Go back through my notes. John can tell you, but I was just talking. We were just
It
talking to
was it was Scott Simpson
Scott
was his
Simpson.
name.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Got it.
He was sold on Lebanon. I just want you to know that. So he,
He's probably getting his team members through Eddie Malouf. Like, that's my boy.
is it? Probably there you go. You
Yeah.
probably know who they are. So I love
Yeah.
that. So hey, one of the things I want to back up a little bit is I really heard you say. And I talk to my kids about this all the time. Like, money just creates options. Like you said, being a doctor, having different aspirations in the business you're in now. Like, I'm totally awesome. I think that's great. I just think that money creates options, and business can create options. What I'm doing now, I love it, but at the same time, I already have a plan. In a couple of years, we're going to be doing different things. But I love how it creates options, and I think for a lot of people, they just get in and think it's going to be the grind and I'm going to do this the rest of my life, which is fine if that's what you want to do. But I do think I love to hear someone like you, having some success and realizing, hey, I want to have different options. This isn't what I do. This isn't my passion, but I'm doing it to create other options. What would
Of
you say to
course.
other people out there just who want to create different options and just how to get started or what to do if they're kind of just beginning? Because a lot of our audience is kind of newer. What would you suggest if they want to create different options, what to do?
I'll give you like an example that's like recent. So I was just jumping on. I jumped on a one of my. So I have a community as well, and I have coaches in there that either are success stories of my students or whatever that coach in that program. And I don't usually jump on that call that I was just mentioning, but I decided to. I was like, fuck it, I don't have any meetings. Like, let me jump on, see what's going on with this. And one of our new students was saying a lot of excuses on why he hasn't started, why he hasn't done this. Like, uh, I'm in Europe, like in the US, you guys can charge more, or like saying things like, oh, people in Europe don't understand paid ads, how much they do in the US. And then saying things like, oh, I don't know if I'm very passionate about Google ads, things like that. And I realized like everything is the same coin, it's just two different sides. It's like you can either say, okay, people in the US can pay more than Europe, or you can say, I'm just targeting the wrong people in Europe. You can also say, people in Europe don't believe in paid ads, or you can say, oh shit, everybody that is my competition in Europe sucks because I know the US strategies and nobody's applying them here. I can be the one that innovates by just doing what other people are already doing, just somewhere else. And being passionate, I mean, let's be real, like, I'm so passionate about Facebook ads. Like, literally, if it shut down, I'm gonna be so upset. Like, nobody's passionate about these things. You know what I mean? I'm passionate about taking care of my family. I'm passionate about hanging out with my parents. I'm passionate about doing things that I enjoy. Right? We work to provide value to the marketplace, and then we can spend that value on things that we actually care about. Now, for me, I actually do enjoy the hustle. I do enjoy the grind, but also I try not to enjoy it too much because that's not the purpose of a job, right? So, um, at the end of the day, like, I think that for someone listening to this, if they're either just starting out or they're thinking to start something, find where you can have the most value. There's a Japanese concept called ikigai, right? It's like, what are you good at? What can you get paid well for? What do you enjoy? Things like that. And then when you find like the common ground between all these things, you have reached like what they call as like peace, right? And for me, peace is like the most valuable currency. So at the beginning, there is going to be chaos. There is no peace without chaos. um and I think at the end of the day, like, if you have a clear set goal and you actually execute, and that's the most important part, you can achieve anything.
Yeah.
Like, I know it sounds like bullshit motivational talk, but I mean, that's my experience. Because, like, to me, I was always like thinking to myself, oh, I'm going to be super successful, doesn't matter what I do, I'm going to be successful because that's just who I am. You know what I mean? So that was kind of like my thought process at the beginning. So I didn't really have a lot of doubts and things in my mind. But as if someone is like just mentally always doubtful of themselves, focus on the execution. Fuck thinking. Just stop thinking. Just execute and then like improve. Think about how you can get better. Don't think about if this thing is gonna work.
I love that.
And
I like that mindset you talk about. Your guy in Europe. I mean, who wants to buy from that guy? You know what I mean? Like he doesn't even believe
Exactly.
what he's doing, so he's not going
Exactly.
to sell. I think we are our own worst enemy. I like how you're talking about mindset and getting in there, and like I said, you got to enjoy the process and what you're doing. But you're usually we are our own worst enemy, and it is mindset. So I love that. So
You know what was funny about that call actually? Literally another one. So this guy is based in Croatia, just for context. And he was like, "Oh, people in Croatia don't pay more than like $500 a month for paid ad services and things like that." I can't make this up. Another one of our students on that same call said, "Actually, I don't even live in Croatia and I have a client paying me 5,000 a month and they're in Croatia." So that guy like pretty much like shit himself. So
Oh man,
um
that's what's
that
up.
was that was amazing.
that's awesome. That's
Yeah, no
awesome.
doubt. Um,
That's
I,
what's great about being in a room like that. You get different perspectives. I love it. So
yeah,
cool.
I love that.
Exactly.
Um, it's really great. A lot of what you're talking about here. It sounds like your mindset is really strong, and like you have an abundance mindset, if you will, right? And
Yeah.
I love what you were talking about a minute ago in regards to um, the different concept of like wanting peace rather than wanting the money, and that peace. To be a total nerd for a second, like if you guys have seen John Wick 3, like I love what they say at the end of it. He's like, if you want peace, prepare for war. And I think that that is such a like real situation, and you need to really like take a deep dive and kind of get in that better mental spot. So for you, I want to know, how did you develop the mindset that you have around this and that abundance approach? And was it something you would attest to your environment or other factors?
So for me at the beginning, it was more so the fear of the negative, like I mentioned before. Um, it wasn't more so a mindset of like everything is good and I'm gonna have the house of my dreams and the girl of my dreams and the car of my dreams and whatever. It was more so like, hey, like I just don't want to be homeless. You know what I mean? Like I just don't want to be at that gas station again where my card got rejected on the gas pump. So for me, it was like more so a fear of the negative, fear of being broke. And once I started to think positively, think positive things started to happen. So I was like, why was I sitting all these years like thinking about fear of the negative when really all that brought was more negative? And I know it's hard to listen to if you're still not at that point where you're receiving positive rewards for your efforts, but I think it's just part of the game. I think it's part of the process. Like if you aren't receiving good results and you're getting hit with negative after negative after negative,
Mhm.
I say you just haven't earned the positives yet, and that's part of the price you pay. Like I used to drive to my office at 5 in the morning, like literally crying in the car. You know what I mean? Like it's not all sunshines and rainbows. Obviously, I don't like to talk about those times, but it is part of the game. It is part of the process, and I think that as long as someone has something to fight for,
Mhm.
you will win eventually. Like I can't remember where I read this quote. Someone said that online or something like that, where it's like people overestimate what they can do in like 6 months and underestimate what they can do in 10 years. And like now, my time horizon is much larger. So now I'm not thinking about, oh, can we like spit this funnel up and like start making 10K extra within the next 7 days. I'm thinking, oh, can I build this like six sellable asset that I can get rid of in like 5 years for like 20 million? You know what I mean? So um, it's just a different time horizon, different goals. It really mostly takes the same amount of effort. You just need to know more people to add different zeros or quantity of zeros to the number you're aiming for.
Yeah. No, I agree with that 100%. I think it's, you know, Christian, I think you really hit on something. I think sharing the struggle with people is super important. I think, because sometimes we're not proud of that or just not excited about talking about it, but it is real, it just makes us so relatable. Like you said, connecting with people. I mean, you're going to connect people like, yeah, I hate my job. Yeah, I'm struggling right now. I'm not doing what I want to do financially, maybe, or I'm not where I want my goals. But I think that's so real and people can relate to that. And I think that gives you a connection with folks, I'm sure. And hey, I don't want to be broke. I just don't want to be broke. And your gas pump story, I think we should be telling everybody that story because
Yeah.
they can see then, hey, this is where I'm at, maybe, or where I came from, but it's not where I'm going. I got similar stories as well. I totally agree. Stealing clothes to have nice clothes because we couldn't afford them. So I get it. You know what I mean? But that's not where I'm at now. You know what I mean? That's not where we're at. And obviously, but you have to go through the numbers and through the struggle to get there. You have to go through the chaos. So I like that a lot. I think that's great. I think that's great. So
I
looking at
think.
like, go
Go
ahead,
ahead.
please. No, go ahead,
Yeah,
please.
I was saying like I completely agree with you. I just think that people have kind of like dirtied that part of the space because people use their come up and their losses at the beginning as like a marketing tool. This is
Mm-hmm.
why I don't share it as much
Sure,
because like
sure.
I don't want to say that just to market to people who are broke. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
I say it in a way that's like, hey, listen, like I resonate with you, like I was there too. I'm here to help, not as like a hey, buy my course because I used to be broke and you're broke now. You know, like, and that's the part. It's very sad. Like,
yeah,
there's a lot of ways to market,
yeah,
and
yeah.
some people just decide to prey on the weak when really these are the people that need the most help.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's what we found too is the most value you can give is people, you can help a ship that's moving and you can help steer it. But if you're locked up at the port and you aren't moving, it's really hard to get that going. It takes a lot more energy. John and I have bumped our heads against the wall several times trying to help folks who really didn't want to help. They just wanted something free. And I realized, hey, people are making money, want to spend money to make more money. So that's who we really focus now. So I get that. You're
Yeah.
100% right with that. I'm sorry, John, I cut you off, everybody.
Oh, you're all good. I just want to know a little bit more about how it is that you kind of made the transition, because I don't know if you originally started going after those golden testimonials or if you had a lesson that you learned in order to do that. Because really, I think that what we've kind of drawn up in the last couple minutes is that there's really a difference between serving those people who are already in motion versus those who
Yeah.
are, just out the gate. So like, how did you determine that that was the audience you wanted to serve?
So I wrote my entire journey to my first million in sales through my book, Roadmap to a Million. And I really spoke a lot about the 1% rule. I know, like, in theory, it sounds good, but like, how many people really do apply it? I genuinely look at every negative as how can we learn from this? One of my favorite influencers had a something in his bio, and it says, first you learn and then you remove the L. And I fucking love that. So I try to learn as much as I can, even to this day. Like, I try to invest as much as I can in not learning from others only, but learning from my own self. So, like, for example, when we lose a client, we sit down as a team. Hey, why we lost the client? Everybody's first reaction is, "Oh, client sucks at sales. Oh, client like doesn't update the CRM." I'm like, okay, cool. What did we do wrong, right? How could we have helped them, right? Is there an AI that can update the CRM? Is there something that can improve their sales? Oh, we don't have a sales training video for our clients. Let's fucking film it. Why do we have all this goddamn equipment? So, like, you know what I mean? Like, there's always lessons to learn, things to improve on. um, and most people, they will always blame something exterior to themselves. And if you blame yourself, the only drawback is that, like, it's a push on your positivity, on whatever. But if you're able to like shake that off and move on, it's significantly more valuable than just blaming an exterior factor. And that's what it is. At the beginning, I used to blame everything except myself, and I was getting results for as like a person who does that. So the minute you start looking at inward as like, I'm super fucked up, like, how do I get better? And having that mindset, it really does like make a massive difference.
Yeah, I love that. I just had a conversation today with somebody about that, Christian, and we were talking about a pie and said, "Hey, what if I mess this up only 5 or 10%? But how can I improve in those areas and not do it again?" And another person's like, "Hey, maybe it was 99% your fault." I go, "Great, it's 99% my fault, but it's 1% your fault. What can you do different?" And they're like, "Oh, I never thought about it that way. Like I might have messed up in this situation." I go, "I'm okay." I always say this to my guys on my team. It's all my fault. How do we fix it? You know what I mean? So let's just get
Agreed.
it out of the way. It's all my fault. How do we fix it? So I
Agreed.
love that. I agree. So a couple of things you hit on were really, which I've enjoyed the conversation, Christian, so far. I really have. I just think one of the
Same
things
here,
I think
guys.
with social media and all these things, I think sometimes, like you said, preying on folks who don't have money, maybe that really bothers me. And I see a lot of folks who kind of sell the masses, so to speak. I think a lot of people give that false idea that things are easy. That hey, if you just post a video every day, or if you just pay X numbers of dollars in Facebook ad, we'll make you super successful. And you and I
Yeah.
both know there's work. I mean, yes, Facebook ads can get you leads, But what do you do with it? The sales team with VA, is it you personally selling? Somebody's got to do the work, and
Yeah.
you're paying for it or you're doing it. But what would you say to that? A lot of people give that idea, and we talk about that all the time. John and I do with clients. Like, look, there's work involved. So how do you talk to folks like that, or you just say, hey, we're not for you, or what do you do if folks kind of have that perspective?
It's a little bit biased on my perspective because we're already in a good position. At the beginning of an agency, you're pretty much going to accept any client that has money to pay.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the price they pay you to basically sell your dream. You know what I mean? So the problem is nobody wants to be unethical, right? Nobody wants to quote unquote prey on the weak. Nobody wants to be a scammer, right? But the reason that becomes a thing is because it's very easy to sell when you overpromise, right? If I was sitting down on the side of the road with a sign that says I'm selling my Lambo for $10,000, every car is a prospect. You know what I mean? But obviously that's a lie, right? Same thing happening with these guys. Yeah, $1,000 my course, you're gonna make 6 figures a month guaranteed. Yeah, they're gonna get a bunch of people to pay because people are gullible, and that's the problem. That's why things like that start to have bad taste. There's no regulations behind this, so that's why you're going to see a lot of people getting scammed, chargebacks, Stripe accounts getting shut down, things like that. When if you're running a business that is either on one of the extremes, you tend to be successful. So, for example, in our coaching program, it's a community. My course is fucking free. I don't want you to pay for that. And my community is $99 a month. You can go and cancel after 6 hours. Go in there, download all my course materials, and cancel. No problem, right? Nobody's going to be broke from $100, and I'm not going to get rich from $100. So for me, for the people that need help at the start, I have that option. And for the people that are already successful and need help growing their business through my like white glove agency service, my retainers start at 5 figures. So the average business cannot afford us. So that's not just done for us to make more money as a business, but also that's done in order for us to remove the people that still don't understand the game.
Yeah.
Right? If you can't afford a 5 figure retainer on the low end, I know for sure you've never ran paid ads before. I know for sure you haven't like burnt by an agency before. Like literally every single one of my clients has worked with at least 15, 20 agencies.
Yeah.
So it's perfect. So for me, I'm trying to be so much better than those other guys so that my clients like, holy shit, these are the guys. You know what I mean? So it's less about convincing someone that Facebook ads is the next best thing and more about saying, hey, listen, like I'm a good partner. I have these case studies. I'm going to innovate. I'm going to help you grow your business versus I'm going to run your paid ads because fucking anyone can do that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's more about, when you get to a point like what you're saying, it's more about saying no. It's really who do you want to work with and pre-qualifying them. And it's really about saying no. I mean, you can work with everybody, but to what cost is that for you and your business versus you want to work people you like and trust and that people that, want to get things done. And it really is about, I think, saying no more and more is what John and I've experienced. So I 100% agree. So sorry, John.
I mean, I get messages every day on Instagram, people saying like, hey, like I make 10K a month with my cleaning business. Can you help me? I'm like, sorry, can't help you. Not my niche, not my revenue goal. And the thing is I have tons of students. I tell them, hey, listen, like you can join my community and post a job listing in there. I don't care. Like you can do whatever you want. It's just that it is true. Like you're absolutely right, Chris. Like at the beginning, people are selling everything. Like when someone is starting their agency at the start, like I'll build your website, I'll post on your Instagram, I'll run your ads, I'll walk your dog, like I'll do everything.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's funny. In a similar fashion to all of those people reaching out to, be involved in your services and stuff. I was speaking with Jessica Crane the other day, and her and I were both having a good laugh at the idea that it's like, those people who come to you and they're like, well, I have this thing that can be sold and I want to get it out there, but like, I want to partner with you about it. And it's like, here, I made the thing and now you can sell it for me. And it's like, dude, it doesn't work that way exactly. It's like, there's customs to this, and you can't just do all ask. There's got to be give. So like now that you've given me my list of what you want me to do, what are you doing? Like
Yeah,
it's like a checks and balances. It's hilarious.
It's all about expectation setting.
Yeah, exactly. So how do you go about communicating those expectations to your clients?
I'm actually very extreme with that. So my sales team is still a little bit soft, and they obviously want to close more deals and get more commission. So I try to push them to be like, hey, listen, like be rigorous on the expectation setting. Like if the client is even thinking to churn in the first 6 months, like I'm gonna blame you, and we're gonna figure out why that is, things like that. So like for example, when I'm closing a deal, I'm like, hey, listen, these are all case studies, but like I hope you know you're gonna suck. Like it's gonna be so bad. Like the ads are not gonna work the first 60 days, maybe 90 days, maybe 6 months. Okay, but just so you know, like we're gonna keep working on improving them. So I just show so much undeniable proof that we get it to work, but then I tell them, hey, it's not gonna work. Set the bar so fucking low where they're like, I don't even know if I should be paying this guy. He's telling me it's not gonna work. You know, it's like the complete opposite. It's kind of like a mind fuck because, like, imagine this: you have all these insane case studies, but you're telling them it's like not gonna work. To them, when they do convert, they crush it with us because they're like, oh, this is not like I tell them straight up. I'm like, if you think you're gonna pay us and you're not gonna do anything, I will literally give you your money back, and we're not gonna work together.
That's good. And I really like that you said that because that's what John and I've been talking a ton about managing expectations. And one of the things, we have a question here, people come into our group, we're like, hey, what would be for you the result to be successful? Like, hey, clearly it's articulate what it is. And we have to say no because a lot of times it's super unrealistic. Or, hey, you're not going to make day one. We're going to do some things. It's going to be super painful. You're not going to be excited about it. We're not going to be best friends. But the expectations, we will meet them if we can meet them. So, but if not, hey, we're not good to work with. So I love that. And it's almost like you're talking people out of it. And then what you find, I'm sure you have, Christian, well, hey, I'm okay with that. I understand it's going to be 6 months. We won't make any money. They're trying to sell themselves to you because they want to be involved with you, even though you're telling them we aren't going to make any money, just so you know. So,
I mean, yeah, it's all about transparency at the end of the day because, like, I know that some people say, hey, under promise and over deliver and things like that, but I'm not trying to under promise and over deliver. Obviously, like that should be a default. I'm trying to under promise to make sure that they put in as much effort as me. That's all I want. Because if they put in even half the effort that my team puts in, like we're going to be locked in. It's going to be a wrap. Like they're never going to find another marketing company ever again.
I love it. I love it.
Nice. So, as we're entering this new year of 2025, what is it that your goals are for this year, and what's kind of the one big hurdle that you feel you have to get over, like Russell Brunson calls it, the big domino, in order to actually reach that goal?
Absolutely. So, my two biggest goals this year are actually not agency related. The agency is pretty much like on autopilot at the moment. Obviously, we do have like financial goals and like KPIs we want to hit and things like that. But the two biggest goals is I want to release my software that I've been working on. It's going to be literally like just like my community, but for paid ads. So it's going to be like, hey, this AI will run your paid ads for you all through like Facebook's API. It's going to be insane. It's going to write your copy, generate your images, fucking optimize your ads, and send you reports based on how often you want to do it. And the second thing is I want to expand my real estate portfolio. So far, 4 houses deep, and I'm in the negative. So I'm still trying to learn that part of the game.
Chris is your guy here. He's got about 12 million worth of real estate, and so he's doing pretty good in that. Yeah,
that's amazing. I have maybe like $12 in real estate, but yes.
I love it. I love it. Well, hey, you're learning, man. You're still growing. I love it. So that's one of the things is I talk to everybody. Hey, once again, manage expectations. Hey, you're going to take a bath for about a year, and then we're going to help you figure it out.
Love it, man.
That's good
That's
stuff.
the way to do it.
Yeah, it really is. So, hey, we talked to a lot of people in the ad space. I do think managing expectations is like critical. And then I love, Christian, what you said. I mean, yeah, we got to do all these things with follow up and with AI and with social media, but that one-on-one connection, going the extra mile is what I call it. To me, that's super critical. I'm a little bit old school that way. I'm all about handwritten notes. I'm all about connecting face to face. I think that's super critical. And then just shows you're committed to them, just like they're committed to you and making clients. I love that. I love that. Some good gold nuggets in here today. If people want to reach out to you and learn more, or I got some, some gold level clients that want to connect more, not just somebody to run paid ads, but somebody who can help them grow their business, what would be the best way for folks to reach out to you?
I would say the best way to reach out to me personally is through Instagram. So it's at Christian Jamal. And then I can guide them into the right direction. Obviously, if someone's tech savvy, they can go into the link in my bio and like guide themselves to where they think they're the best fit. But I personally don't have VAs in my account. like you said, I believe in like a face to face. So usually people, whenever they DM me, I send them a voice note. They know it, so they know it's actually me, and we can take the conversation from there.
I love that. I love
Awesome.
old school. I love it.
Well, thank you so much for your time today, Christian. This has been a wealth of information, and really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, guys. You guys are awesome.
Thanks.
Likewise.